Fate of the universe on the line. I want Iguodala.
Kevin Durant. You know who I am.
Hurry, way downtown. Bang! Up for the layup. Oh, blocked by James. Is this the dagger?
The beat separated itself from the shaft this week. MJ reminded KG how he shall always be the meek. Logo changes were brought up, debates over new and old. All-star changes were made, some timid, some bold. All this, that, and others this week on the hashtag #BallisNBA podcast, your favorite NBA podcast in an Indian accent. We're back at it again on a week when two NBA coaches started updating their LinkedIn resumes. Shams broke the news of the All-Star reserves, sooner than TNT crew could do it, and Ricky Rubio finally woke up from his sleep as he realized that Timberwolves, quote, went building something. Speaking of obvious, I've got with me, as always, someone whose location has made reels inaccessible, someone whose Kobe hate has made me scared of notifications, and someone who has been threatening to return to India. My co-host, Vineet Devaya. Vineet, welcome back. It's been an exciting week in the association, and we've got things to talk about.
We do. And we also have we have a guest today with us.
We do have, it's our first fan pod.
Yeah.
First fan pod of this season, and we are very excited. Vineet, you want to do the intro for him?
Yes. So today we have the lover of the Boston Celtics, the man who doesn't drink beer but only drinks IPAs, and also the man who has ran the New York City Marathon.
Wow.
So I would like to welcome Luke Mellon to the Ball is Bay podcast.
Yay.
All right,
welcome to the pod, Luke. Welcome to the pod. Thank you for repping the Celtics. I mean, I don't think we've ever had anyone wear a jersey on this pod before. At least.
Oh, yeah, you're right. You're the first jersey guy.
Super stoked, guys, to be on this podcast and just listening to your intro. And you guys are just getting better by the podcast. So excited to be here.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much.
So tell me about this. You only drink IPAs thing.
I just developed a taste for it. I lived in New York City, and it was before the IPA craze really, really started. And I would drink Sierra Nevada. And back then, that was the IPA. And now that's just like a regular old standard.
That's just a regular. That's the Corona of the IPAs now.
Whoa.
And I would love to just go out to and talk to people and be like, hey, do you know why they call it an IPA? And talk to them about like how actually back in the day on ships they would actually just fill the beers with extra hops and then they would sail to India, right? So that's what I call it, an India Pale Ale. And people always found that story interesting.
There you go. See, we made the Indian connection right there.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Of course, Vineet doesn't drink any sort of alcohol, so he has not much idea about craft beers, especially. But I'm a huge craft beer fan.
You're a craft beer fan?
I love craft beer. I'm from Bangalore that way. I'm a huge craft beer enthusiast.
I didn't know this.
My favorite is the stout, though. Indian Pale Ale really doesn't sit well with me. But I like the Hefeweizen also. Anyway, enough beer talk. This is not the beer podcast. This is the NBA podcast. Before we get into the main, the Celtics talk that we're gonna do, because I think this is the first time that in the regular season they are sort of disappointing us. I mean, Vineet, I don't know if he has much expectations from the Celtics, but till last year I was a huge fan of Brad Stevens and Tatum and everyone. Anyways, coming back to the last week, I don't know if you guys saw this play. Denver Nuggets versus Washington Wizards. Washington tried to do get a layup, missed it. Denver came back 4-on-1 fast break. Jamal Murray stops at the 3-point line. Everybody freezes at the 3-point line. He passes the ball. Is this? Luke, I'll come to you. Do you think who was at fault in that possession? Like, whose fault was it for not, the Celtics? The Nuggets, getting the win, or at least getting the win.
It was a pure positive play in the sense of it was just magic on their side.
There was really nothing that I think it was everybody's fault on the Nuggets side, and it was just kind of a lot of luck for the other guys.
I thought that at least one of the persons would have made a run to the basket and he could have got the ball. They all just spread across. And
who do you think who should have done it? Do you think it's Michael Porter Jr.?
I think Porter Jr., I don't think he's a great three-point shooter. Maybe he went to the corner, so analytically that probably was the best place. But I think one of those people should have definitely, made a run to the basket. But this is what the new NBA is all about, and
It's all about 3 points.
yes, it's all about 3 points and layups. I mean, layups is still part of it, though. Anyway,
Luke's a big guy, so I don't think Luke's a shooter. Are you into the whole shooting revolution, Luke?
No, I mean, I like shooting, but unfortunately, and I'm a big guy, but big,
relatively big.
Yeah,
how
right?
tall are you? How tall are you?
And
You should tell
so
us now.
I'm 6'3". I'm 6'3", and I'm 6'4" with shoes on, right? I always say 6'3 3/4" because I run across guys that are 6'4", and they're big. Oh, you're not 6'4". But like in high school, I was actually 6'2", so I grew 2 inches in college. So I would play basketball, but 6'2" in a small school. I graduated with like 80 kids. I was made to be the center, right? So you're supposed to be down there getting rebounds, which doesn't really help you as a younger guy to try to be out there trying to make competitive threes.
Yeah, our main topic for today is, of course, the Celtics, as is pretty obvious. And my basic main question is, why are they so inconsistent? I mean, there's a team with 2 All-Stars. They've got Kemba Walker. I mean, he's playing not that great. We'll talk about that later. But the Greg Popovich of the East, the roster has been playing together more or less.
Stop. No, let's not call Brad Stevens the Greg Popovich of the East.
I think if Game of Zones has said it, then we have to go with that. And the roster is also pretty, like it's not like too much upheaval. This is the team which went to the Eastern Conference Finals without their main player Kyrie, and then what is the reason there is so much inconsistency? Like they could have. Yes, please.
I've got you here. First of all, Brad Stevens is too pretty to be called Greg Popovich.
Yes.
And,
have you seen Greg Popovich when he was younger?
So I don't think it was that much that pretty.
It wasn't that pretty. Yeah.
Second of all, I think that they're just poorly constructed. I think it's been kind of a haphazard kind of thing that's happened here. They picked up Hayward and he got injured, and then they made some draft choices and roster choices. I think over a series of years that they've actually been a little bit haphazardly misconstructed. They lost Horford. Everyone knows, this is a cliche take, I'm sure. Everyone knows that Horford should still be on the Celtics and they'd be a different team if they had him. So I think that they're, Hayward with Brown with, Tatum just never worked, right? Hayward's kind of a little bit of both of them, right? And, it's hard to play when you're a little bit of both of the 2 guys that are the best players. And I think that they lost the Hayward, that trade. They lost the Gordon Hayward trade. So,
would you have not done the Hayward trade, just knowing his injury stuff and how
they
he's
sold
just
low.
Okay.
They sold low, but I don't think that they're ever going to sell high because I don't think Hayward was ever going to have a chance to ever get back up. You see Hayward is over in Charlotte now, and he's doing great. Obviously, it's easier to do better on a lesser team. But he's a good player still. He just was never going to really be a fit in Boston. And for that reason, he was never going to up his game enough to be able to trade high. So they were just in a really bad situation there.
Okay. We need to. I'm not sure if you follow the Celtics as well, but at least.
What do you mean? I follow the Celtics.
You follow the Celtics then. That's great.
I only follow Jaylen Brown. I like Jaylen Brown.
Right, like you've been saying that Jaylen Brown is a little bit better than Jason Tatum in that thing. What is it that makes you think that way? That
I think Jaylen Brown is smarter. He has a higher IQ of the game. He understands what he needs to do, and he's actually a pretty good scorer. He just tries to take a back seat to Jason Tatum because I think maybe he understands that Tatum needs kind of more of the shine. And because when Tatum was out, Jaylen Brown was balling. So I think that in my opinion, that's kind of what is not fitting. Is I think Jason Tatum realized that Jaylen Brown is actually good when he was out, and I think that part is a chemistry part is also an issue. Obviously, Smart's not there, so that's also kind of from a chemistry and just. What do they call it? The dog mentality?
Whoa.
The dog mentality.
We can't use those terms here. Poorly defined terms.
Yeah, that also does not exist in the Celtics. So I really don't know, man. I think that you were okay with Horford leaving. I always felt like Horford was like an important part of the Celtics, and the achievement that they did back in the day, with that kind of ragtag roster, like he kind of brought them together on a defensive point, and I think him being on the Celtics would have made a huge difference, because right now at that position they really don't have anybody, and they're just throwing whoever they have.
Daniel Tice. The Tice.
Yeah, and I think they should play Mr. Taco Fall more, man. I just think that.
No.
Yes, Luke. Tell me. I saw your eyes light up. I said, yes.
Well. Here's the question: is like, why is he on the roster? I mean, the G League is playing, right? I know it's COVID year, but I actually checked. I went and was like, is the G League playing? Because the guy needs to play. So if that guy is going to be on a roster, he needs to be on a roster he can play, because the only way he's going to get better is if he's playing. He's not the kind of guy like, they had like a Brad Wanamaker. They had like some, veteran guys that were swing guys on the team. And, those guys can sit around and then pop in. Taco Fall can't. He's young. He needs to play. Otherwise, he's just going to, if I was him, I would be with my agent trying to figure something else out, because people want him. They want him on their team.
Yeah. I mean, he's probably the most, I think, like, what do you call that? Nimble of the 7'5" and above.
it's a small club with him and Boban.
Boban, yeah. So I think I would just throw Taco Fall in there in a lineup to just shake things up and see, because I think that whenever you put a big guy, I mean that kind of big guy, it really changes. It gives people, the opponent like something to think about, and I think that's always a good choice,
Yeah, I would agree. I think that I took some of my thoughts down in notes here before we got on the call here. And
Yes,
and
preparation 101.
I see that the Celtics are, they're highly competitive when they've got everybody in. Tatum's had COVID and Brown has been injured and Kemba's had his knee and now Smart's out. So, I think that's what we're seeing in terms of them struggling is their record's bad, and then also a lot of inconsistency in terms of like who's actually on the court and how healthy they actually are. But I think when they're all healthy, they're still not a contender. I don't think. I think that they're highly competitive non-contender. They're the team that maybe gets to the NBA semifinals, but no one expects them to potentially win that series, right? So if you're in that spot and you got a guy like Taco Fall, you might as well figure out like, hey, is he going to be, is he somebody that can actually, make a difference? Maybe there's a different dynamic. Everyone's actually playing this whole, stretch 4, stretch 5. What if you throw a 7'5" guy in there that's got his arms up? Is he going to stop like Giannis from even driving?
You go for a stretch 6, but in the other direction.
Right.
It's a stretch 6.
Exactly.
See, I mean, even though we don't want to point fingers and all, but Kemba Walker this year has had an extremely, average year. Last year he was an all-star. This year he's averaging 15 points, 4 assists. Those. And I think Kemba's form and their sort of mediocre defense is the biggest indicator that like you said, they are, even if they get better, they won't be a contender. Is there any sort of mid-season trade? I'll go to Vineet with this one, that you think that they have to change
Bradley Beal.
Bradley Beal.
Bradley Beal. That's the only thing I can say. But I don't know if it's going to really help them, but.
They do need points.
Luke is like, no.
They do need points, though.
Is the Celtics against? No.
They don't need points. They don't need points. They need togetherness and like defense, and they need glue. They need big men, I think. Bradley Beal with Brown. So you have to get rid of Brown or Tatum.
Miles Turner. What about Miles Turner?
Miles Turner, yes, absolutely, 100%. Yeah, I thought they should have made that trade with Gordon Hayward.
Oh yeah, right. He was a part of that. Oh man.
Yeah, they should have. That was a big miss. I thought just to go back. You talked about Kemba. they never, they should have kept Rozier in the first place, right?
Mhm.
Like I never was a big fan of them getting rid of Rozier.
A lot of takes here.
Like, I mean, they don't need a star there at point guard. They need a guy that's going to do a really good job, and Rozier can do that. I think Rozier's got that dog mentality that you talk about.
Ooh.
He's an underdog, and when you say dog mentality, and when I say it, I mean underdog. So he's the underdog. He's feeling like he's not appreciated, and he's a little smaller than the rest of the people, and he's going to come to the game, and he's going to be bigger than you think he is. I mean, I think as far as trades and how do you actually fix it, I put down a couple names here. I mean, if you want to go big like Bradley Beal, I think you actually go in the other direction with Gobert. You get somebody like Gobert on the team.
Whoa. Gobert? How do you get Gobert out of Utah Jazz? Explain this.
Well, yeah, it's going to be tough, right? How you going to get, I mean, how are you going to get Beal without giving up too much?
Yeah,
right?
That's true. Yeah.
The Clippers have another guy that the Celtics never should have let go. Not that I like this guy, but he played really well as Marcus Morris. He was fantastic for the Celtics as a second teamer. And I think that the second team is something that's really important. It gives like Tatum and Brown and those guys a moment to breathe, a little bit pressure off, somebody that can come in and actually do some
Yes. Vinith has never liked Marcus Morris or
both the Morrises. There's nothing to like. They just.
I don't either. I don't like them either. But their results actually come through.
That's true.
Let's move on to a little bit about you, Luke. Tell us, give us some insight into how you started off playing basketball. I mean, you gave us a little bit of it, but how you fell in love with the Celtics, and how this whole journey.
Best period of following the Celtics other than the 08 Lakers. You cannot, 08 Celtics. You cannot use that 08 Celtics as the linchpin of your Celtic journey.
No, I don't. I grew up. My brother, my older brother, taught me how to play basketball along with my dad, and we would play out in the driveway. We'd watch. The Celtics play. We watch, the Pistons versus the Bulls, that kind of thing.
Nice.
We create some Joe Dumars shots and stuff like that.
Were you a Pistons fan? Are you a Pistons fan?
No, I'm not a Pistons fan, but they were huge at the time. I rooted for the Pistons over the Bulls, right?
Oh, that's
good. Okay, that's right.
So, but I was a Celtics fan. I was like, this is my team, and that was because my grandfather. My grandfather was a huge Larry Bird fan. I used to go over my grandfather's place when I was a little kid, 5, 6, 7. I would go over, stay over the night at the grandparents, and we'd watch the Celtics game. Big fan of, McHale, Parrish, Bird, that whole team. It was,
DJ.
that was in my, opinion, in my day, that was like unbeatable. Like they were amazing to watch.
Okay, I think you were young during the Larry Bird Lakers thing.
Yeah, so I was born in 81. So when I was like 5, it was like 86. And 5, 6, 7, 8. So when I was a real young kid hanging out, doing a sleepover at my grandparents, they were in the late 80s there. Very competitive, very fun team to watch. With Danny Ainge playing too.
Yeah,
Danny Ainge. Yeah, Danny Ainge was kind of like a Marcus Smart kind of player, right?
He's a 3-point shooter.
No, but I mean, just kind of like mentality, right? Just like
you guys even had Bill Walton on that 86 team, I think, 6th man.
Yeah.
What's that?
Bill Walton was also there, right, on the 86
Oh,
team.
yes.
I think. Yeah. Bill Simmons keeps calling that 86 team the greatest team that he's ever seen play. But he's a Celtics homer, so what do you?
He's a homer. That's for sure.
Yes, and you played in school. Must have played in school.
Yeah. I would play in my front driveway, and then I played just growing up in different leagues, and then I played for my varsity team for my school and whatnot. Basketball was always one of my favorite sports to play competitively, for sure.
Awesome. So Luke, we all know that you love LeBron James.
What?
He's your favorite player of all time. Just joking. but just like a little background for our listeners, like anytime there's a LeBron joke or anything bad about LeBron, Luke's the first person to be like, ha ha ha. Like he's kind of can I call you a LeBron hater, Luke?
I wouldn't say that I'm a pure hater. Okay. I don't like just 100% like pour the hate on. I guess I probably unfairly hold him to an extremely high standard that like a lot of really public stars get held to, which is probably unfair to them. But that's I don't think I'm going to stop holding him to that standard at any time. I think that he has a really strong voice, and moments where he's on the court and he like yells at his co-player. I forget that moment in the finals.
J.R. Smith.
J.R. Smith, right?
But that was totally worth yelling at, and the J.R. Smith thing was, I mean, I would have lost my mind too. I mean, come on.
Oh, for sure. That's where I'm saying, like, I hold him to a higher standard than I would ever be able to execute that.
He's saying he doesn't expect LeBron to act like Vinny Devay. That's basically what he's saying.
That's fair.
And there's like, you see clips. Like, I think I saw a clip of some of those same series there, where like he's just on the bench and he's shaking his head, and he's like, sometimes he's had like some really bad attitudes, which I think potentially could have like changed, a little bit. He could have won more potentially if he had the right attitude. But he's amazing, and he no one's had more expectations and then lived up to those expectations.
That's true.
Michael Jordan didn't have this level of expectation put on him.
Maybe Jabbar. I think Jabbar was kind of, when he came into the league, he was also. But I think
I think media was pretty less.
Yeah. From a media perspective,
yeah. Yep.
For sure.
So any other players you hold to such a level?
I know of one.
Is it Kevin Durant?
No. We were driving to Colombia, and I don't know what we were talking about, and Luke just goes, I think Tim Duncan's a snob. I was like, what? I just had I had to double take. It's like, you think Tim Duncan's a snob? I mean, I didn't get into it too much, but I want to get into it.
Yeah, here's the chance. Go for it.
Yes, go for it. So Luke, explain that statement.
First of all, I didn't know I was speaking to such a lover of Tim Duncan. I didn't know I was kind of speaking to someone who writes love letters to him and probably puts them in the mail.
It's true.
So,
it's true.
Every day.
But one thing, as first, I would say that there's an arc with my kind of feelings on Tim. I think as he came out of he has the Spurs drafted him. First of all, I was a Spurs fan. I love David Robinson, and I loved the Spurs at that point in time. And then he came, and I was like, oh, great, this is awesome. And I liked him immediately. I liked how he was a big fundamental. I liked how he just kind of did his thing. I felt as though as he kind of racked up some wins, and kind of built his resume, that you started to see him engage in that whininess that NBA players have. There's some real like complainers to the refs, and hey, I made the shot, but I got fouled. That kind of stuff. And I just it kind of soured on him a little bit, even though I still had crazy respect for his fundamentals and the way he still how he used the glass. Yeah, but and then he has. So when I would play basketball in my driveway as a young kid with my brother, he would actually get on me because I had, if I started doing real well, I would get this kind of like underlying smirk that like I couldn't control. Like I couldn't stop myself from smirking, but I would smirk a little bit, and it wasn't like a grin. It was like yeah. And I think Tim's got one of those, right? And so I see a little bit of myself in him. And so
That's a good one. That's a good. Yeah, I mean, you know what? I have to agree on this. I think I have to agree on this that Timmy was a little bit of, but I think it was mostly for the media. Like he just didn't care. Like he just didn't want to deal with them, and so he just kind of put up this front that, you know, like I just don't care about you guys, and I think that's what it was.
Yeah, he gave you a little Bill Belichick, right?
Oh yes, a little bit.
It is what it is.
That's what it was. And I don't know where it was, but I read somewhere or I heard somewhere that he used to. So according to the contract with the NBA, you're supposed to minimum like wait for 5 seconds for the media in your contract. And so he would stand, he would finish changing, and he would just count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and just go out. And if someone did not ask him a question, it did that 5 thing, he would just leave it.
Look, what's the most exciting NBA game you've seen, you know, live in stadium at the TD Garden?
Live game.
In the TD Garden. Have you been to the TD Garden?
Have you been to the TD Garden?
I have been to the TD Garden. And actually, you know, when I went to it, it was actually called the Fleet Center.
Okay.
And when it was called the Fleet Center, I actually got to see Muggsy Bogues with Alonzo Mourning.
Who's been on our podcast, by the way.
Yes, yes.
That's amazing. That's amazing. So I got to see those two play, Muggsy Bogues and Alonzo Mourning, you know, against the Celtics. A long time ago, I went with like my dad and my best friend and his dad. And but you know, to be honest, I haven't gone to a lot of live games. But that was probably the most exciting for me. I was playing basketball in like, you know, middle school, and I brought a couple of my buddies, and it was awesome.
Yeah, I think the 90s were like kind of not the best time for the Celtics, right?
Very polite way of saying that, Vineet.
Yeah, you know, they had, I'm blanking right now as a Celtics fan, but they had that gentleman pass away. Yeah, they had 2 people. They had 2 people
right. Yeah.
pass away. Two like first-round draft picks. Len Bias, but then followed by a player that actually played several years in a row and was fantastic.
Okay.
Yeah, Reggie Lewis. Look him up. He's actually so they had him as, you know, and you know, Celtics have a long history. They have him as number 27 of the best Celtics ever.
And what about the 2008 Celtics, Luke? We can finally get you to talk about it because Vineet.
I mean, I don't hate them, but they talk about themselves so much. Oh my God, it's just I'm so tired of listening to the 2008 Celtics.
Well, you know, it's. I think it was a hijack, right? Ainge hijacked, you know, some folks from his old buddy McHale over at the Timberwolves, right?
They did. So I'm sure Kevin McHale was. Oh, you want Kevin Garnett to the Celtics? Okay.
How can we make this happen?
I mean, it was a finely crafted team, like in terms of like the makeup, like putting together a team and making them up in a certain way. I don't think you could have made a more perfect team at that point in time, right? I mean, I think you go on to make the Heat, you know, kind of a little bit more inspired, you know, in that way, if you're trying to make or design a team. But I think at that point in time, that was just the makeup of the team with Ray Allen and, you know, Garnett. It was just, you know, with Pierce, obviously, it's just, that big 3 is ridiculous.
Yeah, it was a very, very good team. Very, very good team.
Yeah,
so look, right now,
I don't think
I have on.
Is it
Garnett? Has to be
it number 5?
22.
All right, we'll give you a number
34,
now.
34 is Paul Pierce. The truth.
Paul Pierce.
That is
the truth.
Pierce. That's right.
It's the truth. 34 used to be Shaq's number, but I know the Celtics. On Celtics, the 34 is Paul Pierce.
Man, Shaq.
I'll give you a little bit more Celtics. One second. I'll give you a little bit more.
Okay.
So here we go. I've got a little bit of the court right here.
Oh wow.
Oh wow.
Here. Yeah.
That's awesome. Look at that. Celtic
The
pride.
auction of the. How did you manage to get that coat?
Oh, that was a gift. I think that they probably
Auction it
replace tiles, right? Hack it up
Like
and
every day.
throw it on a board.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
Yeah.
So
I
in the
think they
current
might
NBA,
replace it.
Luke, who are you like rooting for? What's your team that other than the Celtics, obviously?
Other than the Celtics, I really like. I like the Nuggets. I really like Jokic.
Yes.
But it's it's a weird year because I'm not a big fan of the Nets. You won't like to hear it, but I liked the Warriors. I really did like them.
You like the
way they were
KD
constructed.
with KD
The KD Warriors
too?
or the before KD Warriors?
I like the KD Warriors. Absolutely, a gratuitous matchup.
Chocolate cake wrapped in chocolate, dipped in chocolate sauce. It's too much.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and with a little peanut butter, too. Let's not exclude anything. So it was. So it's tough this year to kind of see just Curry out there on his own struggling. Especially the other night against the Lakers.
They got swept so hard.
But who I'm really liking this year, honestly, is the Charlotte Hornets. I live here in Charlotte, and I haven't been able to see a game or yet whatnot. But maybe as things are starting to open up here a little bit more, I might go see a game. I was looking at some of the dunks of the year, and Miles Bridges is thrown down. He's an exciting player to watch. Melo is doing real well. I think he's surprising people. Gordon Hayward's playing.
He's not surprising
fantastic.
me.
No. Oh, okay.
No, I knew that he just had to get more minutes. Like it's almost like 2K. He starts off. They don't give the starter minutes, and then I think we talked about how his coach called him turnover machine, and I think that boy just took it to his heart. He's like, "Oh, I'll show you."
He's also played with real men in Australia. I think that's and even in he went and played in Lithuania or somewhere.
Lithuania, yes. He went there. High school, but I don't think he played much. What is most impressive about me, at least from the Ball brothers' perspective, that LaMelo has shown no fear. Like he's not. If they give him a shot, he will take it. He's got none of that. Maybe I should not take the shot. Maybe I should defer all that. He's like, if I've got a shot, I'll take a shot, and You can only succeed with such a positive attitude. Huge fans of LaMelo Ball. Vinny, you're forgetting the most important team of all. Number 4 in the East.
Knicks. New York Knicks. The New York Knicks are number 4 in the East. Can you believe that, guys? Do you think you would ever say that statement ever?
No, I don't think so.
No.
I never thought so.
And Luke, you must have gone to a ton of New York games, though, right?
No, I didn't.
Really?
I'm a big Yankees fan, so I would go all the Yankees games. But I was not. I'm a Celtics fan, not a Knicks fan. And anything you're going to see at the Madison Square Garden, tickets are pretty expensive. So it'd always be like, let's go to a Knicks game. Like, let's just go to a bar instead.
I guess that's the reason why the Knicks suck, because they got to support local businesses. That's
Why not? That's a great hype.
Yeah, the only game I went to see in Madison Square Garden was the Spurs against the Knicks, and the Spurs were on a winning streak, and they lost against the Knicks. I was like,
I think the only time I ever rooted for the Knicks.
Sorry.
I was going to say the only time I ever rooted for the Knicks was with Jeremy Lin.
Oh yeah, that was a good time.
Jeremy Lin made a comeback in the news this week.
Oh really?
Yeah, he was talking about how he got called a coronavirus on during a G League game. He's playing for the San Diego Conquistadors, I think. I'm not sure of what the G League affiliate is, but he came out and said, Asian American racism is always swept under the rug. They're like, no, it's not that prevalent, blah, 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 blah. And a lot of players came. Even our friend Nav Bhatia also came out and said, I support Jeremy Lin.
I haven't followed
that happened. I mean, it's not. It was there. I don't know what your phone. It was there all over social media last week. Anyway, something else which was all over social media last week was the All-Star selections. The reserves, they got announced last week, and I was on the amazing Hoop Darshan podcast discussing it. Yes. But Luke, I'll just read out the West reserves for you. Chris Paul, Paul George, Dame Lillard, Donovan Mitchell, Rudy Gobert, Zion Williamson, Vineet, and Anthony Davis, who has since been replaced by the Devin Booker. And on the East, Harden, Randall, Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Zach LaVine, Ben Simmons, and Nikola Vucevic. Jason Tatum, of course, moves to the starter's position for KD and Kevin Durant, and the person who gets replaced is
Sabonis.
Domantas Sabonis, of course, who I thought should have made it anyways. Any thoughts? Any snubs particularly? I mean, all I felt unfair was that a team like the Celtics who are not even 500 have gotten 2 All-Stars. So that was the only complaint that I had. I mean, they might as well have.
Look, do you think the Celtics deserve 2 All-Stars?
I mean, it's less about the Celtics and the fact that they're stars. Like they're a two-headed monster. The Celtics are a two-headed monster. That's what makes them up, not necessarily a collective team. So yeah, I do. 100%.
Surprise.
How am I not surprised with the answer?
Any other snubs that you thought? Someone else you thought could have made it? Maybe did you think Zach LaVine should have made it? Given the,
I thought Trey had a better year than Zach so far.
Uh-huh.
Oh, are you a Trey Young fan, Luke? I think you are.
No, not particularly. I just think that if you look at his stats and Land has been fairly, not horrible. I think he's got a little bit better. He's a little bit more of an all-star, I would say, candidate than the other LaVine.
Yeah,
LaVine. Maybe he just hates the Bulls. Maybe that's the reason.
I had Booker down too, but it's nice to see that they slotted him in. Whatever it was, that injury or whatever. But I had Booker down as somebody who should have been just selected.
I don't think Anthony Davis should have been there. But I think it's just kind of like, he's Anthony Davis.
He's Anthony Davis.
It's like putting Kobe on all defensive team.
Whoa, man, come on, you still got.
Ooh.
Yeah, he's got 10 all defensive team selections, man. Come on.
He was a
good
defender.
He was a good, even his own coach, Phil Jackson, in his book says Kobe Bryant won most of those defensive things just based on name and not based on any kind of, like his own coach said that.
So let me play on that a little bit then.
Yes, let's play on how bad Kobe was. Let's do that.
No. I think that, and I got another Kobe take. So I think that Kobe going to guard somebody, and he's Kobe Bryant, that's defense just to start with, right? Like, Kobe's guarding me today. Like I think that there's something in his name as he guards you before he even starts to do anything.
Right. I mean, that's exactly what Phil Jackson said, is that he didn't do much from a defense, but it's just his name and, all of that surrounding. Because think about it. During his time, you had, Ron Artest. You had, who else? What's the guy's name, man? The Houston Rockets guy.
Ron Artest. Oh, the Shane Battier.
Shane Battier. I mean, these people barely made 5 defensive teams, and Kobe Bryant made 10.
But it was not all first defensive teams, right?
No, but just defensive teams. Yeah,
he is not a bad that, but just makes it seem like he's not a good defender at all.
No, he's good. He's good.
Eric Bledsoe made an all defensive team. He's made an all defensive first team. He's on an all.
But not 10. Maybe 4 or 5. Yeah, but 10 is a little too much. Sorry.
It's not.
So I saw something good out there the other day. Apparently, Devin Booker. There was some kind of clip where he was complaining. Devin Booker was complaining about getting double teamed during practice.
Yeah.
And then they showed a clip of Kobe, and they asked him on a podcast, like, Kobe, if they double teamed you in practice, what would you say? And he was like, send a third.
Kobe's such a marketing machine. It's like, yeah, send a third, send a fourth.
Yeah, he's like, it's like Die Hard. He should have been in Die Hard. They're like, send a third.
But
Anything
I feel Vineet is just this is sort of that thing like you overcompensate. I think Vineet really loves Kobe Bryant. He like even when he's playing on, he's an extremely selfish person. He'll get angry for no reason, trying to pump himself up and all that. And those are extremely Kobe characteristics. So I just think
I mean, Mamba mentality is a real thing.
It's just
Mamba
like
Luke.
It's just like Luke seeing LeBron like Luke seeing a little bit of himself in LeBron, or LeBron himself, and then being like, oh, I wish you would do better things. And then it's the same with Vineet and Kobe. Like all this Kobe hate talk is just, like it's just.
No, I mean, I used to be a big Kobe fan. Like there's no doubt about it. I just think that it's gone a little too far, and we need people to bring it down back.
Anyway, since we're talking about Kobe, another thing that happened this week was like one of the final things that happened this week was Kyrie Irving saying that we need to change the logo. Like Jerry West needs to go. Even though officially the NBA has never said that the logo is Jerry West, but I think the artist who got commissioned for it, he said, I took inspiration from a Jerry West dribble. I mean, if you look at the logo, I don't think you think it's Jerry West, but once
no, it doesn't look like him.
It doesn't look like Jerry West. I know, it just looks like a normal person dribbling the basketball. They talked about, how Kyrie's like Black Kings built this league. I mean, I completely agree with that. But do you think there's any need for a logo change, or because at the end of the day, it'll just be that because Kobe died, we changed the logo. It's not because of any other. Because if you want to change the logo, there are like many people before him who you could have, said you could have made it the
Michael Jordan.
Most definitely.
Come on.
Let's just be very realistic. Like before Kobe Bryant, Jordan changed the league. Made everyone watch basketball, made it exciting, revenues increase, all of that. And frankly, I don't think anybody other than Michael Jordan deserves to be on the logo. But oh wow, I need a little bit of.
So maybe Larry Bird,
Jordan,
his
here's like this. Yes, I think there should be a shooter. There should be a shooter for sure. I mean, Jordan's already jump man. He's already, so like he's not like, that's not an NBA logo per se. That's Nike, but like he is
everybody
jump man.
knows that, yeah.
So how you got to do something different. You got to do everything's about the three these days, so you got to make it about the 3-point shot. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, I mean, Steph really changed the game, man. Like I was watching this video on YouTube, and like it was just like, I think there's a YouTube video about how the scoring has changed across like since 2000s, and they show this clip of like how the Steph Curry era like ushered in like like just a wave of scoring. It's really
wave of 3-pointers.
No, just scoring. Like like this.
Okay.
This ability and giving, because the moment Steph started showing that you could do all of this stuff and like shoot from here, shoot from there, like and do all this stuff. Like the coaches really had to open up the offense. Before it was kind of, you had a position, and I think Steve Nash's Suns team was the first probably like positionless basketball.
Yeah.
And then kind of Steph and Steve Kerr kind of just blew it apart, and then everybody had to match that positionless basketball. So it was an interesting.
I think you should give a lot of credit to Steve Nash and the D'Antoni system as well, because they showed that. I think the rules for hand check also relaxed at that time. So Steve Nash, a little small boy, could just move around, do whatever he wanted, get to the places, penetrate, kick the ball out, shoot threes. That probably opened up people's eyes that if we can get this and we have one legendary shooter or someone who can shoot amazingly well, then we can score a lot and then not worry about defense, because the other team would still be shooting twos, shooting threes.
I've got an idea for you. So Steph Curry shooting a logo center court logo NBA 3 with the logo being John Havlicek NBA, on the logo. So you get the logo on the logo as the new logo. Shooting the 3.
We need to get to work on that.
Designers to get on.
We need some designers. Designers hit us up. Vineet, that's.
I think that's pretty much it. Is there anything else?
We have to do this or that with our guests.
Yes,
we always do this with our guests.
Yes.
We have some questions ready with your
I have some questions ready.
Oh my God!
Why not?
Vineet is extremely 110% ready for this episode. This is
I
a
mean,
refreshing change.
I have my standard 3 questions.
Okay, let me guess. Okay, I'm gonna start the question since we haven't discussed a lot of Celtics lore, but my first question is a little bit of that sort. Favorite Celtic of all time, Bill Russell or Larry Bird?
Oh man, you took my question, bro.
That's not one of the standard questions.
Larry Bird.
Larry Bird. Oh, okay. All right. Vineet?
Okay. Who has more legit NBA championship rings, Celtics or Lakers?
Celtics. Come on.
I mean, even if you had said Lakers, we would have put a speech blurb saying, he said Celtics because you're wearing the jersey.
Right. So you don't consider the Minnesota Lakers a part of the Lakers?
Yeah, I mean, no, I don't.
No.
They're not the Los Angeles Lakers.
That's fair.
Minneapolis Lakers. Okay. Kevin McHale or Kevin Garnett? Your favorite Kevin?
That's a tough one. I'm gonna say, oh man, that's tough. I'm gonna say Garnett. It's surprising me as I say it. I've never thought about it. But I really respect his, maybe you guys will change the title of this one to Dog Mentality, but I really respect his dog mentality. He's a guy that just gets in the gym and, you better be ready. He's so intense. His level of intensity is crazy. But that's a close one right there.
Kevin Garnett. Okay, all right. The big
tickets.
Yes.
The big ticket.
All right.
Okay.
So go for it.
Which was, this is not this and that. Okay. Kobe Bryant or Tim Duncan? Better career.
I'm gonna go with just for Vineet here. I'm gonna go with Kobe.
No,
why does everybody pick Kobe?
I think most people we've asked, they've all given the answer of Kobe. I think all of them have done it for the same reason.
To piss me off, because they can see my anticipation. I'm waiting for them to say Tim Duncan. Like, no, I'm gonna pick Kobe.
Vineet cannot have that poker face. If you have a poker face, I think maybe you'll have a split, but you're like,
it's tough to be a poker face, kind of like, hey, podcast. I'm just what it is kind of guy, and then be selected as like, this or that as like, Kobe's so prolific, so in your face, so everything that, you're gonna lean towards him.
True. He definitely has the charisma.
All right, this one is I don't think we've ever asked this question, but in sort of a cultural influence, LeBron James or Allen Iverson?
Cultural influence. Oh.
So you're saying like who's had the most influence on culture?
Yeah,
Allen Iverson for sure. I don't know if you guys have seen his the documentary on AI about him coming up through high school and the troubles that he's had through high school and then into college at Georgetown. But that's a fantastic one, and I think that throughout the years his influence on pop culture was stacked pretty high.
Okay.
I think LeBron is also a huge AI fan, so this answer makes perfect sense.
Well,
you cannot master the master.
And AI was, influence-wise, AI was crazy. So
shout out to AI. Please reach out to us. We'll get you.
I think AI might even come, man. He may just be like, "Oh, India, okay." Something like that. But So wait. I have one last question. This is the thing I'm going to ask all the fans now, because I was thinking about this yesterday. It's like, if you were, which is the NBA player that you think your game closely resembles? I was thinking about this, and I know my answer, but I want to know your answer.
You know,
for myself.
Answer for you.
For myself, I know it for myself.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I mean, you've got to be a little bit, you don't want to pick the bad guy, right? You want to pick the best guy out there, right? So I'm going to go with Jokic. I'm going with
Jokic. Oh, whoa.
That's my guy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Post, pass around, and making other players better. All right, Luke.
Ashwin,
100%.
You got to answer that.
I don't know, man. I mean, I don't want to say Russell Westbrook because I can't slash and dash like him. But I think maybe
your game should be like almost like or at least somewhere close to it.
I don't know. Maybe Thabo Sefolosha, like more defense and just the occasional 3-pointer. I don't know if Sefolosha is still playing.
But you don't play occasionally. You don't play defense. Yeah.
What?
You're mostly a short blocker, but that's because you can leap and you're slightly taller for most Indian men.
How tall are you?
Not that tall.
I'm 6'2" in shoes. In 2-inch shoes, I'm 6'2". Yes.
With 2-inch shoes, he's 6'2". So he's 6 feet.
You look shorter on the pod.
This world is quite constricting for a person of my size. I'm also pretty scrawny, so maybe that doesn't help.
Mine is Boris Diaw.
Boris Diaw, wow.
Boris Diaw, I like it.
He's a put your butt into the player kind of player, which is my go-to move.
I concur.
Yeah, that's my go-to move. Yeah.
I think I should have said someone like Vucevic. I think I'm more of Vucevic guy. Get the occasional post move, score, and then block shots. That's it.
Vucevic, yeah.
You could be like a Christian Wood.
Ah, yes, I like Christian Wood. Christian Wood is cool.
No, you don't.
But Christian Wood, I think, is a little more sprite.
What your game?
No. I mean, I like the comparison. Is what I mean. Not like I like Christian Wood. I like Christian Wood as an answer. That's what I meant.
But I think you're more of a spot-up shooter, right? Spot-up shooter and kind of...
Shooting has gone down. Now I only do mid-range. Mid-range shots. I have to get back.
All right. Well.
So you're like a...
I used to...
here on the Spurs. Who's your guy here on the Spurs?
Sorry?
Patty Mills. No.
Current. Who's your star here?
Nobody.
The Spurs? Currently?
No, there's no star. We are a team.
DeRozan.
DeRozan is just playing for his next contract.
I looked the other night. He had 30.
That's all he's doing.
He had 32 points, no 3-point shots.
Oh, you can be a DeRozan, man.
I can be DeRozan.
That's true.
Wow.
You got the same shot.
Wow. Okay. All right, Vinny. I will take that. I'll take DeRozan. But I actually like the center thing because I play more post.
Yeah, you do a lot of shot blocking.
Freewheeling. And DeRozan is an an dunker. Okay, let's not forget that also. Just because he takes a lot of mid-range shots. He's an amazing slasher. Anyways, some apt answers and some non-answers apart. This is an amazing podcast, man. Thank you, Luke, so much for joining us. We had a lot of fun. I hope you had fun as well. And
thanks for coming on, Luke.
You want to add anything? Yes,
this
absolutely.
is fantastic. It's amazing to see you guys. Week over week, you just get better, and it's a pleasure to be on here, and I'm honored. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Thank you. All right. We need the audience. Please like, share, subscribe, do all that jazz, and we'll catch you for the next episode. Next episode, we have also a special guest. Hopefully,
all our guests are special.
But if
all our guests are special.
All our guests are all. We also have. I said we also have a special guest again next week. Other than like, share, subscribe, do all the things. Follow us on all your podcast
and here's
platforms.
The Celtics thing.
Let life take you to a place where you own a part of Celtics hardware or your favorite team's hardware. Yeah. All right, Vineet. Say bye-bye.
Bye.